Yagao has been getting the shorter end of the stick both of these games, and it's due to the pressure that Shanks exerts onto that mid lane.
Huge respect given over by AL. Ruler's Ezreal is banned, Kanavi's Nidalee is banned, Kanavi's Zyra is banned. Renekton taken away, so it can't be first picked again. And it means that Leona makes it through. Kael very happy to snap that pick up. This time around, though, no Tristan available for that mid lane. So we'll see what the trade will end up being. If it's going to be like Corki Lucian again, we'll get something a bit different.
We do have Ashe up and available, didn't make it through the bans. There's only 6 that can be done this time around. Kanavi, with the more self-sufficient jungler, if you will, can take up the fights, can do a bunch of damage in those team fights. So far, so good. They do have long-range engage with the Ashe as well. However, playing Ashe into a Leona lane can be a little bit scary.
Certainly can. Ashe immobile, and if you get caught out, you are just going to go down. There we go. Immediately, Shanks slams the Yone alongside Croco's Sejuani. This is a potent composition to play very aggressive, find a snap pick.
But this is such a great reply in terms of a draft from the side of AL, and we've been praising them for their drafts. You've got 2 sitting ducks of carries right now in terms of Brand and Ashe. Both quite extremely short range compared to a lot of other ranged carries. So you have drafted 3 champions already from AL that want to go all in. I'm expecting potentially even a Poppy ban coming out of here. Because there's way too much all-in potential from the side of AL, and Poppy could definitely help with that.
I do really like this draft from JDG to answer it, though. Like, everyone's going forwards. You're playing into Braum and Brand. Like, that's really difficult to play forwards into. They have so much build, but also a huge amount of damage. It's going to spread across if you go straight into them. We'll see how it's going to pan out, because some of the arrows from Hope in game number 1 of the series on the Ashe were immaculate. We'll see if Ruler can give a similar performance. Now he's got the pick for himself, but Allah will be forced away from the Jax this time around. We'll have a bit of a change up at the top lane.
Yeah, they have taken away the Ziggs as well, which was a pretty clever ban right here from JDG, as you do have pretty insane amounts of AD on AL so far. So you are looking for that type of AP as well in your team. Ziggs usually solves these problems going towards that bot side of the map. Now, Kennen is something that has risen to popularity. Mordekaiser as well. You can play some AP towards the top side of the map. Lucian, as you very well mentioned, is going to go up against the Yone, another AD carry, to sort of round up the composition. And AL are going to have to try and find some ways to squeeze in just a little bit of AP damage. So far, not a hard tank on the side of JDG, so it's not necessarily needed, but you never know what the R5 is going to come through from Sheer.
Can't pick available for Sheer. Kennen, I'd say, fairly safe.
Oh, it's all in. This is all in. This composition only has one direction, and that's a W.
It certainly is. Allah very good at finding those flanks, finding those moments. We'll see if Kennen will be the answer for him.
Wow.
And AL, they were toying with the idea of things like the Jhin, things like the Kai'Sa, but I feel like Bullet Time really leans into the identity that AL have drafted for themselves here. This is ultimates, all slamming on top of each other. This is full wombo combo.
And let's see what JDG have in store. Again, a Poppy could solve a few of their problems, but that means that their Poppy is going to have to be present in every single fight around objective to try and save the all-in, try and save the dash. We'll see what the reply into the Kennen is. Poppy gets quite poked down as a melee champion into the Kennen, so it's not very easy. However, you need to make sure that whatever champion you pick has a little bit of self-agency in terms of getting out of all that all-in that AL have drafted. TF is not one of those. That is 3 immobile carries drafted for JDG.
I will say, in terms of laning, though, the Twisted Fate with a Brand, like, the setup is fantastic for Kanavi to go up to that top side, or for Sheer to ult into another lane as well and try and set up some kind of play. Very much about the picks here for JDG with a Twisted Fate and an Ashe. We already talked about AL. They want to go in. They want to go for these big team fights. Quite different style compositions. I feel like JDG's composition, pretty high skill ceiling available with this type of comp, but also very easy for the game to fall apart.
And usually when you see 4 squishy carries coming in from a composition, BLG have showcased that so well. Your support is usually more of an engage tool like a Nautilus, a Rel, a Leona, something that likes to go in and create that space, that engage for your team. However, this time around, you have a Braum. So even though JDG want to play into that engaging team, again, there are 3 sitting duck carries. If we're looking at those team fights, I feel like flashes are going to be that #1 thing we're looking at for JDG if they want to make it out alive out of these 5v5s.
We've got to see something special here from JDG to pull off this composition. It's a powerful composition if they can pilot it. We need to see great side lane play. We need to see great positioning in the team fights. Anyone's legend. It's a little bit simpler of a game plan. Let's see if they can execute and go 4-0 in the Ascent group. I think that was the very end
AD.
of the Gyos there. Oh, hang on, JDG. They're starting strong. They're starting as they mean to go on. Ala maybe has a 6th sense, just feels the need to move away from the top side. I don't know if that was just a shiver down his spine or what, but Ala, he doesn't even know what he just got away from.
Yeah, Sheer was just walking out with a gold card right there. Pretty good to point out as well, double exhaust on the side of JDG. That is kind of huge for them. Shanks is going to be diving forwards. Ala is going to be diving forwards. If you can exhaust them in time before they get their combo down, you could very easily save your backline for JDG and then play from there. Again, so much self-agency when it comes to the carries of JDG, the gold cards and the exhaust coming from the TF, Yagao on the Lucian, pretty slippery on those fights. And then you also have a Braum that will be protecting you a lot from the all-ins. And it's all up to AL to find the correct angles to burn summoners first and then go for the all-in.
See how this mid lane goes as well. We've seen a lot of Yone versus Corki in the mid lane. Yone versus Lucian, a matchup we've seen a lot less of. You'd imagine, especially early on, Lucian probably wins this pretty hard. Very hard to land a Q3 onto a Lucian that has that dash available. Range advantage just very, very strong. It's once you hit that level 6, just like with most Yone lanes, that's when you start to find that kill pressure available to you. Sparring in the bottom side for level 2, but Ashe Braum, the level 1 is just obscenely strong, isn't it? It's so difficult to fight against Ashe Braum early in a lane.
Yeah, for anyone who's played TFT set 1, Freljord was pretty obnoxious to play against. That is exactly what they're doing here, slow after slow. You've got range on the Braum, you've got range on the Ashe as well. Pretty difficult to play against.
So Hawkshot will spot out Croco in the top side. Full information to work with here for Kanavi, but both junglers just clearing upwards, and actually Croco has done a decent job to maintain pace with a brand on the opposite side of the scoreboard. Not necessarily what you would expect, but will be able to do so. Shanks does finally get a decent trade for himself. A very quiet start to this one, and I kind of want to indoctrinate anyone who has just recently tuned in, that's missed the first couple of games of this series, that's been missing some of this split. You may not know the name AL. You may not know about anyone's legend if you're not an avid LPL watcher. Well, these guys have really come out of the woodwork. They used to be the Rogue Warriors. They turned into AL a couple of years ago, but they've always been towards the bottom of the scoreboard. And this split, they've managed to pick up this roster of XWE talent, with Ala coming over from EDG as well. And now they look like a team that could contend for the top of the table. Kanavi spotted on a ward. Ala now setting up for Croco to move into this top side. Flashes for double marks, but he went way too far forwards and gave over first blood. Croco has to answer, but Kanavi flashes away. 2 carries hammering away at Sejuani. I'm not sure the pig survives that one. Kill for Kanavi, and 1 for the top laner, Ashir as well.
Ale gives away the vision that they had way too early. Croco wasn't quite in position, and they thought they had the upper hand, but the exhaust coming in clutch for Sheer. Great stuff right there. Has the golden card. Will be able to pull out this time around, but again, a reminder, the fact that you do have exhaust means that you do not have teleport to get back into your lane, so Sheer is gonna miss out on quite a bit. Let's have a look at this play again. Ale pokes with Q into the bush. showing Kanavi that they know he's there. The second he flashes in to get that stun onto Kanavi, Sheer instantly exhausts him, mitigating a lot of that upfront damage that Kennen would have in this scenario, and leaving Croco all alone. Tatsuani versus double carry cannot really do much. Gets severely outranged once Kanavi's flashed away as well. Very hard to catch up on.
I have to say as well, like, I think even without the exhaust, I'm not sure Ala can realistically do a lot more there with the flash forward for just a stun on one person. It did feel like a bit of an overextension from Ala. He will be punished for it. At least he managed to get himself a little bit of a CS lead, crashing that wave, but Sheer's back up to the top side. The kill is plenty for him. 500 gold lead for him and for Kanavi and the junglers. Shanks is starting to find some really nice trades on this Yone. Starting to impact that mid lane. Yagao out of mana, so really difficult for him to pressure in the way he'd like.
And I feel like the trades with like Yone and Corki and whatever AD carry pretty much go the same way. Yone will get bullied level 1 and level 2, and you can have very, very favorable trades after level 3 using that shield. The fact that you do not necessarily have mana to expend to push down that wave, and you have Lucian who actually has to use a bunch of that mana to pressure in that wave and could get punished for that. Croco on the long way around looking for Sheer. Ale has been poked down quite a bit, but he's level 6.
That's the 1v1 that Sheer wants right now. Hope's been found at the bottom side. Exhaust lands, and that's the concussive blows as well. Stun comes in. Cleanse is good, and he stands behind the tower. Missing survives as well. Everyone 100 HP as now Kael moves into the bottom side as well, looking for the 2v2. In the meantime, I think the dive went through onto Sheer in the end and set up for a kill onto Ala.
Not sure how much of a dive that was as they're looking for Shanks in the mid lane. He's going to have to ult away from this fight. They're going to catch Croco doing void grabs right there, but Ale's like literally 1 HP. Has to reset, which gives a lot of...
Flash for the stun. Ruler flashes the Zenith Blade, but it does not matter at all.
What is going on?
Happy to tank that one. Hope we'll get a bunch of plate orders on Kanavi. Getting the grubs in the top side. I mean, will we ever get a replay of any of that? We're still somehow even in this game with all of this chaos going on.
Maybe we'll get all of them, starting with the dive onto Sheer. This is not necessarily a dive. You see that Sheer was trying to pull the wave away from his tower. Therefore, whoever overextended to kill Sheer would take that tower shot. And it was so close to taking down Ale with him. However, now they know no exhaust, no flash. They're looking for him again this time around. Kanavi has hit level 6. He's ready to defend his top laner.
Croco's 6 as well, though. If Sheer mispositions, he has no flash available.
I think they know. The fact that Sheer is pressuring so aggressively.
Both teams definitely know what's going on here. Unfortunately for Sheer, this is going to push towards Croco. Combo onto Al. I mean, he's dead before he even gets to move.
I'll take it back. Munch, I'll take it back. I don't think Ale knew. I thought they were playing sort of the mind game of I know, you know that, you know that, I know that, you know that I know. But both junglers are up top lane and we're waiting for each other to walk forward so we can get caught. But I feel like Ale didn't know that he knew that they knew that he knew. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
He's been out-node. Croco has to sweep up a wave top as well because Ala is going to miss out on a great many minions. It's a bit of an XP lead for Sheer. The CS lead's still in favor of Ala from earlier on when Sheer missed a bunch of minions, but not good for the little Yordle in the top side. And Ala, some uncharacteristic mistakes this game on the Kennen.
Yeah, we had a few iterations in game number 1, I think, in which cost the game, actually, to AL being caught onto these Jaxos on the top side of the map. Lieutenant JDG finishing the game right after this. Now, very importantly, Hope was playing Ashe over in game 1. Heat-seeking ultimates every single time, and Ruler has just hit level 6. We're expecting to see a lot of globals being thrown around on the map. Kanavi. I feel like Kanavi and Croco have been leaving the brand free onto the top lane.
This is the least 1v1 top lane matchup I think I've ever seen. Permanently, there is one of the junglers in the brush. Kanavi can't quite move up because the minion wave is too far up there.
Oh, he'll get spotted now. Oh, wasn't
wards.
Spotted, okay.
There's no wards, didn't get spotted, moves into the third brush. That's nice for him. His bottom quadrant currently up right now. And Croco is pathing towards the top side. He's still a while away, just headed towards Wolves now as the all-in comes out from Ala, but he's been baited and he's been outsmarted. Sheer looks for the gold card and will find it. One more Q and Kanavi grabs a bonus.
Kanavi is making sure that Sheer gets ahead of the game. in this one. On the TF, having that strong side lane pressure. They do have the 2 void grabs as well. Making sure that this TF is strong. If they do secure 4 or more, he could be a very threatening side lane pressure for JDG. Now, when you see Sejuani being 20 CS up on a brand, then you start wondering what the brand has been doing the entirety of this game. And the answer here is that Kanavi has had 100% kill participation. 4 kills already, 9 minutes in. You could not say this to me in spring for JDG, and I would believe it. I would never, ever. AL is forcing the hand of JDG, and they are responding perfectly.
I mean, JDG just brute forcing plays on the top side as well. Kanavi sacrificing a lot of CS to just sit in the top lane brushes. Try and shut down Alet. Really nicely done here. I'm sure Tabe watching this one from the sidelines with bated breath. He's transformed this AL team, moved over from BLG. Well, I guess there was a little gap in between there, but it feels like this AL is a different team to what we've ever seen before from the organization. JDG now stepping up when it matters the most to make sure that AL know who they are. AL trying to set up for this Drake here. Nobody's taken a single Drake just yet this game. Bullet time would be available. It's a powerful ultimate at level 6. Arrow goes wide.
I just want to point out that Kanavi is the only person on the entire Rift with an entire item completed. Leandri's already done. Anyone who face checks this brand loses more than half their HP. Croco was the witness of that. He can 100% confirm whatever allegations are through about the damage of Kanavi. And again, he's been one of the main carries for JDG through that jungle. He's genius. He's pathing. The way we have set him up in this particular team, the way that he plays around the fights, the way he plays around the map, he sacrificed so much in this early game. Not only to get his top laner ahead, but of course to get himself ahead. Game number 2, he couldn't quite carry on his own. However, right now, he definitely has the tools to do that together with Sheer.
I feel like the first game as well, it was him and Ruler in combination that really made the difference for JDG. Sure. And like in a game like this, when you got Twisted Fate versus a Kennen in the side lane, like whoever wins this matchup, whoever gets ahead, they are going to continue to win that side lane for a very long time. So really important to get Sheer a lead, sacrifices his own lead in the jungle in terms of CS to make sure his top lane is ahead. Just happened to also get 2 kills along the way, so he's also ahead in gold in that jungle, so that's a nice little bonus for him. As AL get the priority in the top side, they get priority mid, and they get themselves some grubs. So that'll be 4 grubs for AL to work with. With a Yone and a Kennen, maybe they'll be able to put them to good work.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good way to play through side lanes later on. If you can keep that TF at bay, you could potentially have a scenario where Yone can 1v1 him on a side lane later on. Shanks has been the superior mid laner the entirety of the series so far for AL, and he has bailed them out of very fishy situations, especially in game number 2. So he could definitely be the difference maker on a side lane. Just depends how far ahead Sheer gets compared to the items onto this Yone. Especially since you can play that Yone from distance, you've got the exhaust as well. However, for now, they're gonna stick to their own matchup. Shanks down in the bot lane versus Yagao. And we do have that Rift Herald spawning pretty soon in 45 minutes. If you look over to the top side of the map, the entirety of the top side river has been lit up in red woods from JDG. They do have a bunch of vision. And they are taking some resets right now to get back onto the map. You see the Brom back on the map with control wards. You see control wards straight onto Sheer as well. Completed Kraken Slayer plus Crit Cloak. They're ready to fight this.
They're ready to go if they get an angle. Proto Belt, or Rocket Belt, sorry, for Al. You know, I don't know when Rocket Belt will be my first shout for that item, but I think it'll be a good few years just yet. Feels like, I don't know, it just feels like the right name to me.
Do you still say Tabbies?
I do still say
Tabbies are goated.
I'm trying to say the correct name. I'm trying to say plate steel counts because, you know, I'm a commentator. I just find it hard. It's still Tabbies in my head. Ala on the front line here is a flash forwards onto Kanavi, but he just flashes back out. The Pyroclasm bouncing around the team. And there's a flank from Yagao on the back line as well. He's had a rough series, but he redeems himself. Shanks forced away. and JDG come out on top.
Oh my god, missing right there was huge onto this probe. Not only did he soak up so much pressure, he forced Hope to overextend and flashes through the wall. Incredible stuff from the support of JDG. Not only do they win this fight, but they also grab that Rift Herald again. Such of pivotal importance is that Rift Herald. Croco is looking on the side. There is a TP onto Ale. The tower will still stand for quite a while, but I don't think you want to take a TP onto this tower that's dying. There is a ward behind them. But it's just not quite going to be the play that AL are calling for.
I'm glad, to be honest. I'm not sure that would have been a winning play if they'd committed there. Let's take another look at this fight, because it starts really aggressive for AL, but unfortunately, TP behind makes it tough.
Oh, great flash from Kanavi to dodge both Sejuani and Leona all. And as you can see, Missing is literally tanking everything. Forces Hope to overextend to kill Missing, flashes through the wall, then Hope is way too far forward and ends up getting punished as well. Great stuff right here from JDG, and props to Yagao for finding that flank too.
It's not often you see a flanking Lucian, is it? It's not often that that's the win condition for a fight. Him and Sheer both joining the play. Remember, that was, what, like 5v4? Or 5v3, sorry, to start the play off. But JDG managed to survive. Missing manages to tank up the damage, get away with his life. Ala actually stole the big chicken there. Fair play. But so far, 3,000 gold lead for JDG, and Sheer wants to extend that, pressing down in that bottom lane as the rest of the team sets up for a pick on the top side. I don't know why we're looking at Shanks right now. There's a fight going on. Kael just about surviving for a second, and he actually walks away. And now the return damage Missing, gets a knock-up, jumps over to the rest of his team. How are they still surviving this one? The burn on Croco, he'll fall as the bowler goes wide. It's a disaster for AL.
Great gold card through the wall from Sheer as well to stop the advance from the cannon. A cannon that has flash ult available, ready to go. Great stuff from the rookie top laner from JDG. Understanding the situation right there, helping his team through the wall. And again, I think it's the first time I'm going to say this series. I feel like AL are behind the play every single time. They're engaging right here onto Ale, and Missing again soaks up so much of that damage. Now watch Sheer, because Ale is ready to go in. The gold card is going to hit right there, dissuading any sort of advance that this cannon had. And AL, Hope, and Ale have to back off of this play. 2-1 now onto Ruler's Ash. Kraken Slayer already completed, and this was a composition that had to get ahead from JDG. When you're squishy, when you're playing full carries, if you don't get ahead and you get picked off, it could be really grim in the next fights to come. But right now that they're ahead, they can very easily dictate the pace of the game. That's exactly what they're doing.
And I feel like the goal there for AL was to try and set up Ala to have a big ult, to have this big sort of AoE team fight. Whereas you kind of accidentally set up for Kanavi to do that on the brand, and he's absolutely massive. Okay, Sheer in trouble. Destiny available, but with Shanks in range, there's no way for Sheer to get that ultimate off. Dodges away, and he actually might get it. Oh my god, Sheer! Gold card Destiny, he's out of there.
Cold-blooded as well. The camera panned onto him. He did not feel a single thing. Very well played. No flash, no exhaust available. All he had to do was just dodge the ult from Yone that would pin him in place, and then the follow-up CC would land from Kennen. Great stuff. Again, the development, the trust, the process of getting him as a starter top laner for JDG when you have a legendary name such as Flandre sitting on the bench speaks miles when these plays come through, when they've trusted him to play carries 3 times in a row. JDG, not only are they going to take the dragon off of that play from Sheer, but they're also going to take that refill down mid lane, take that mid lane tier 1, so important. Again, JDG are running on all cylinders now. Ale, he's the one that has to run away.
It was him trying to make the play on Sheer just a moment ago. Ale, no ultimate available. Yagao happy to back away as the rapid fire cannon gold card comes through, and Sheer takes yet another 4-1 and 3. What a statement game from JDG's top laner.
Absolutely, from the entirety of JDG. I'm just going to completely drag it through and say, again, this is the first time that I see JDG being ahead of the play. In general, again, they're a team that they're so good at team fights, they're so good, but they're a team that plays it more slow. He had to already pre-charge the ultimate, dodges the ult, and then ults away. Again, great stuff. By the top lane of JDG. Thinking that Herald over the top side of the map, didn't do much damage. However, JDG are finding themselves in a 5,000 gold lead right here.
Yeah.
Majority of that, I wanted to say he's on their carry, but they have 4 of them. So, wanted or no, majority of that would be on their carries. 3k almost gold lead on the top side of the map. Kanavi, sacrificing his jungle to get his top laner ahead, has spade dues.
And he's got so many kills off the back of it as well that it didn't even really cost him that much in the end. Yagao is pushing in the bottom side, but he doesn't know that there are 2 people in the brush behind him. That's a whole lot of lightning. And that's an easy kill for AL.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an overextension right there from Yagao. You saw JDG sort of hovering towards the bolt side of Croco's quadrant. The missing was just about setting up the vision, so you definitely did not know where majority of the AL members were. A little bit of overextension from Yagao, gets instantly punished by AL. They really need those kills to start coming through. They want to get back into this game again. Their team fighting composition is insane.
Ruler is caught in the jungle. That was a Destiny coming out from Sheer to try and save the day, and he comes in to go 1-for-1. And now Kael trying to escape through the jungle. The blast cone won't get him to safety. The card follows. That was miraculous from Sheer, and now Baron is up on the map. Croco's in the area. Does JDG want to pull the trigger on this? Hope's moving over, and suddenly Concussive Blows is there. Kanavi flashes forward, Pillar of Flame comes in, Pyroclasm to get the passive burning. Concussive Blows back in play. Knock up now onto Croco. He tried to save his AD carry, but all he's done is put his own life on the line. Missing blasts him back into the play, and JDG, this is all over.
Sheer is the main AD carry now for JDG. 6, 1, and 5. 3,000 gold in the lead. 400 gold bounty on top of his head. Let's watch this replay once again. Ruler, he's just storming through his jungle. He's going towards the top side of the map to try and stop Yone from pushing down the tower. And while Leona appears, and Sheer with a very clutch flash gold card into the exhaust to stop Yone dead in his tracks. Not only is it the Leona that gets the kill onto the Ashe, but the Leona dies as well. And then the overextension from Hope. Hope, I think he's just missing the play right here completely. There are 3 members of JDG into this river. He's just walking in without the protection of any member. Croco right here just about blocks the Q coming in from Brom. It's not going to be the case. Tries to defend his AD carry, loses his own life. JDG will translate this into a Baron.
And you see the bullet time come through at the last second there just to try and find anything, but Brom just chokes up Unbreakable. It's not even like many shots of the bullet time came through, but even if they had, they wouldn't have mattered. Sheer is the ace up the sleeve of JDG this game. Phenomenal start from Kanavi to get him ahead, and boy, has that investment paid off. Sheer, you can take a bow after this one, my friend, because this has been beautiful, and I can see why he's being played over Kanavi. And, you know, the Kennen game from him earlier on in the series, I'm starting to question how much I'd been complimenting this player, but showing us why he's been receiving so many compliments, showing us why he's been such a potent pickup for JDG. Solar Flare in the mid lane. Yagao kind of caught out, flashes over into Raptors and will survive. Missing now, looks for a re-engage. Destiny comes on through, and Hope has nowhere to go. JDG, they're just running AL around the map.
However, for this play, they had to give up their Baron buff on that bot lane wave. Yeah, and it's going to get completely killed off by Ale. Only the cannon miner is going to survive. No, he went to the forward.
The lightning rat has found its trap, and the cannon is still tanking up the tower, so JDG might just end the game here. They've got 35 seconds on the death timer on Ale. Reset from Sheer. No, cancels that one. It will just be the inhib, but a Drake up as well, so JDG, I mean, they find just such a huge advantage. We're only 23.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and I feel like Shanks was also in his own mission trying to take that top lane inhibitor. He took the tower, couldn't quite enough get the inhibitor. Yagao had already back to base. JDG, take that kill right there. I have a feeling they could have taken much more if Sheer had not ulted into that mid lane, because Hope was pretty dead to rights from what it looked like. And you had a huge wave down bot lane. The second that Baron buff disappeared, you know, Ale used his ultimate to completely take care of that wave, or it would have been much more trouble for AL. They're trying desperately to create opportunities for themselves. They have caught here and there a few members of JDG, but we're talking about raw damage that's coming out of JDG, and it's very problematic for them. Again, for squishy targets, in reality, it's very easy to say, hey, if we engage all at the same time, it's very easy, but individually in lane, All of them are so much stronger, and if you get ahead, that pure damage is gonna pierce through, and that's exactly what's happening on the side of JDG. AL, pretty easy execution, but they're so far behind that they cannot find the openings for them.
It feels like JDG are almost playing like 2018 IG style, you know? It's like win game, win lane, win game. They're just dominating during the laning phase and then coming out into this mid game, taking everything. Kanavi has been sort of the leader of the charge in this one, but Sheer has been the benefactor of all of that early pressure and has turned it into so much more. Phenomenal stuff from JDG, and also great from Yagao, Ruler missing. Not to fall behind elsewhere on the map. The standard port of call when there's so much presence in that top side would be to play opposite. We did see one dive onto Ruler, but it was only one dive, you know? It didn't feel like enough. And Kanavi even sweeping the lane brushes to make sure there's no deep TPs or anything like that from Ala. There is no way AL are finding a window.
That's the leadership you're expecting from someone like Kanavi. Knows exactly the angles that AL would probably try to pull a desperation play at this point. 6,000 gold.
Oh, that's an arrow.
Deficit. The arrow's flying. I don't think it's hitting. It's not going to be the case. Yagao was ready to pounce. They're not going to quite find Ale in this brushing. He's going to take the teleport out. Luckily for him, grabs the reset. However, 130 on the map for the Baron to spawn. And the whole top side of Croco's jungle has been lit up by JDG. They know every single move by AL. Again, on paper, very simple to execute for AL. You get Leona, everyone else to pile up onto somebody, and there is no flash onto Yagao, so he could be the one target they're looking for.
Curling comes through, bit of damage onto Shanks. It's AL looking to try and fight for some control. Croco was on somewhat of a flank, but spotted on a blue ward. And missing, happy to step up and be the one to block Croco's ultimate, and instead it's Sheer just getting damage onto him. There's now a chance for AL. Ala gets stuns across the team. Bullet time comes up through, but Hope just gets dived on by the whole of JDG. They charge on forwards and tear AL apart. This is brutal gameplay from JDG.
JDG are beating AL in their own game. Proactivity, tempo, movement, ganks, everything missing. Soaked up everything that AL had to throw at them. And JDG, that is a statement game back.
People ask questions of Flandre in the previous iteration of the roster. JDG found Sheer, this young prospect, and oh my lord, is it working out? He looks incredible. AL find their first loss in the group as JDG redeem themselves in the eyes of the fans.
I love the fact that the most emotion that you see from JDG always comes from missing, having the biggest smile every time JDG wins. But I could see a tiny little smirk on Sheer's face. So satisfied with his performance, and absolutely, Kanavi and Sheer completely took over this game. All these ganks, all this farm that went to waste in Kanavi's jungle was absolutely golden, because all the time he spent up in the top lane, Sheer made sure that it was worth the while.
I feel like Croco and Ala got read pretty hard this game as well, right? Every single time AL tried to make a play on the top side, JDG were there to answer. Kanavi was there to answer and protect Sheer. And then every time it was JDG making a play